Hello guys, and welcome back to another video of my FPS framework tutorial. So in the last episode, I think that was like 2 months ago, it's been a while, we coded we had our view model, and yeah, the script was here. So we coded quite some things. We coded a view model gun, a gun list to keep track of our guns, and view model, all this. So we got a lot of the basics done. So today we're gonna be making our view model have. We're gonna be learning how to add different models to our view model. So basically, we'll be able to have like weapons. We'll be able to put weapons in our view model as well as animate it. So to begin with, let's just start with a simple play test, just to know everything was working. There we go. There's our lovely arms. So as of right now, they're very static. It's not a lot with them. So let's change that. Let's add some animation. Now there are tons of ways to implement animation, and I could go on and on. But what we're gonna do is that we're gonna have like a list of C frames, and basically, we're gonna have a list of C frames, and those C frames will contain different position datas and rotations that we can put our view model to in order to kind of animate it. You can think of it as this, like we store data of an animation on a list, kind of like that. So that's what we're gonna do. Now let's actually make that list. So we'll call this C frames, and that'll just be an empty list, like that. So local C frames equals to brackets, and what we'll do is that instead of our where we render a view model and set its position, hold on, gotta delete that. Where we set its position, what we'll do is that we'll have up here, let's make a function. Let's call get camera animation matrix. And all we're gonna do is just we'll make our matrix, and this will be a cframe.new, and all we're gonna do is just for every C frame, what we'll do is that our match will simply equal to match. Actually, we can just do, there we go. So basically what this will do is that it will just add all of our animation data to one specific animation. So we can easily just do here get camera animation mat. So let's actually start animating our arm. So we can do a cframe.new. So this is the first position kind of data. We'll do 1, 0, 0. So if we were to play this, oh, okay. So we have a few errors so far. So vector 3. So this is on line 48. So we have this. Oh yeah, right. I forgot. We have to return our mat. We have to return our matrix. So, because if we don't return our matrix, we'll get that kind of error. The reason why is because we need our matrix in order to render this, and if we don't return the matrix, then we won't be able to get it. So, yeah, there we go. So as you can see, the animation has kind of been acting like an offset, and it basically moved the arms. But we don't want offsets. Technically we're going to want offsets in the future, but for now we just want our arm to look alive and not just be so static. So what we'll do is that let's type we'll create. Let's type cframes dot mouseway. So let's add a mouse right now. For now, it's just gonna be cframe.new. So what we'll do is that we're gonna get something here. Okay? So we're gonna get something called the mouse delta, and the mouse delta is basically the direction the mouse is moving in. So if I were to move my mouse to the right, the mouse delta would be pointing to the right. So it's actually the mouse delta is a vector too, x and y. It's really simple to get the mouse delta. All we have to do is just make a variable, and then just type user input service. We have to get the mouse delta from user input service. Get mouse delta. There it is. We also have get mouse location, which we can use to calculate the delta, but we can just use that. So there's not a whole lot of point into calculating the delta using location. So now once we have our delta, what we'll do is that we will type. So in order to actually, right now our C-frames are kind of acting like offsets. They're not actual animations, they're just offsets. What we'll do is that we'll use these offsets to create an animation. So we'll offset it in a way that makes it look like an animation. Like you'll see. So what we'll do is that let's type cframes dot mouseway equals to cframes dot mouseway lerp. Now lerp is kind of like it's kind of like tween service, except instead we only do a certain portion of it. Now the reason why we only want to do a portion of it is that it's like a portion of our animation is because if we do the entire animation, if we try to execute the entire animation in the same frame, it's not going to work very well. It will look very weird. The animation will be fast, very weird. It'll act overall, it's not going to look very good. So it's best to just do a portion of the animation and then kind of work our way up until we hit the final animation point. So here, all I have to do is just cframe.new. Now for this one, we're going to type math.rad delta.x. So our mouse's x value, y value. And then we'll do the same, except we'll do the x value. So math.rad delta.x. So this will kind of add our sway, because remember, delta is the direction our mouse is moving in. And because we're using our animation function, which is the lerp function, we'll kind of animate it and move our view model in kind of the direction of our mouse. So I can show you what it looks like if we play. We have a little bit of error. We need to put we need to complete that parenthesis. Oh wait, what? Oh wait, hold on. Oh wait, yeah, 0. Sorry, we have to put 0.1 here. 0.1. That's just we have to do a tenth of our animation, our complete animation. Because again, we're doing a portion of the animation, not the entire thing. So I can see it looks a bit smoother. It's more live, I guess you could say. It's animated in the wrong way, so we have to change that to an X and that to a Y. Let's also add a bit of rotation. We can easily do this by multiplying it by cframe.angles. Now this time it's the same thing, except they're inverted, so so this is X and this is Y. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna play that. So there we go. So now we have a very smooth swaying animation. using offsets. Now, this is cool and all, but it still looks kind of bare. Like, if you were to just stand here, it's, it still looks very static and boring. So let's add an idle animation. Now, adding this idle animation isn't going to be the easiest thing, but it's definitely doable. So, you know what? Would be better? If we had an idle animation, instead of animating the view model, we can use a script that kind of makes the view model breathe. But we'll do that in another episode because that is kind of complicated. For now, we'll just focus on a basic idle animation. Basically, just moving the view model slightly. So we'll create the animation, idle animation up here. So we'll type cframes.idle cframe.new, and obviously by default, because of our get camera projection, get camera animation matrix, it will automatically fill in these values for us. Oh, the world just happened. What the? Okay, we don't need to know that. That's weird. I think it was one of these. Okay, but ignoring that, let's actually start implementing that idle animation. Now, again, we're gonna use this lerp thing. We're not gonna do it with the mouse way and all that. What we'll do is that we'll use this kind of, we'll just kind of make it alternate between two values. Now I know I think there's like a function math.sign to assign something like that, but I'm not really into that stuff, so we're just going to use a very my way, and that's just going to be E. It stands in for begin. I'm just going to call this 4. Then E and stands for end. I'm going to call this 4. So I'll make this -4, and that's 4. And then I incrementer, so how fast it goes. We'll just do 1.1. So what we'll do is that for here, let's make a C, which will be our current value that we're counting. Will just equal to B by default. So C plus equals I. And what we'll do is that if C is greater or equal to end, then let's make another variable, and so equal to false. So standing for subtract. So if not S, then end. And then else. So if C is greater than equal to or equal to E, then we'll type S equal to true. And we'll type else if C is less than or equal to B, then leave it to false. So basically, when our current value is greater or equal to the end, let's start going downwards, and if it's getting closer to the deepest part it can go, let's start going upwards. So now it's very simple. All we have to do is just type cframes dot idle equals to cframes dot idle lerp cframes dot new. Cframe dot new, and then let's put in that 0.1 first. So let's just throw in our C. There we go. So if we play, there we go. It's kind of alternating between positions. However, 4 is way too big, so let's make this let's make this half of what it is. So that's 0.5. Let's make this like 1. And here we go. So now if we play this, Okay, that's still quite big. Oh, what happened? Whatever, just let's stop that. So, let's change that here. Let's actually just make v1, and just make this negative v, and just make that v. So now it's easy. We'll just make this like 0.5 perhaps. Still, that's still very, okay, we could use that for walking animation in the future, but it's not what we're worried about. We can make that 0.1. Okay, very subtle animation, but we have to make that quite as subtle as possible, so that would probably be better if it were that value. Sorry. Okay, so I think that's good enough for an idle animation. I mean, it doesn't look, that great, but for like the second video, I think that's pretty cool. So now let's actually start making it so our view model can actually hold items. So, like it can hold the gun model and stuff like that. So, to begin with, we actually need a gun model. So I'm just gonna go to our toolbox here. I'm gonna search up gun. It's gonna give us a bunch of results. You can choose whatever you want. There are two types of guns. Two types of models you would want. Like, for example, there's this one. So, this here, no. So there's this kind of gun where it's just kind of like one part, but then there's the guns where it's like, here, let me see if I can find it. This definitely seems like it. 8 scripts. Yeah, I'm gonna be deleting that. So, there's. Okay, hold on here. Let me see if I can. Something like that, probably. No, I don't want to put that. Something like this, yeah. Something like this, where it's multiple parts and it's not just one entire thing. So, I'm just gonna use this. So I'll teach you how to do both. For the simple one-part gun, very simple. All you have to do is just take this, copy and paste the handle, delete any weird things inside of it if you can, and we'll just copy the model, go to models, and just paste it into there. Now for the actual guns that are kind of like multiple parts, I'm going to teach you how to do those, because those are a bit more complicated. So let's just find a gun like that. Let's find this. Let's find a pistol, perhaps. Let's see if we can find like a realistic one. This looks like one. It has 15 scripts. That's a lot. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to delete, what is this? Okay, no, it doesn't matter. We're going to delete all these scripts because we don't need them. We're trying to make our own game, but we don't want someone else's work. So I don't really know what this part of the gun is. It looks like it'd be invisible, so I think it's safe to delete that. We're just going to, let's just look at this model. Here, so let's look at some parts that we don't need. So here, let's try to scroll through some parts that we don't need. So okay, we don't need that, or like maybe we do. Okay, well, whatever, we have our gun model. So now once you have your gun model, you're gonna want to take all of it, right click it and click on group. If it's inside of a tool or another model, just bring it outside of it, because we don't need that thing. So once you have your model, we'll just call it whatever you want. I'll just call it pistol. We'll set its primary part to kind of like the center part. In this case, definitely be fitting for the handle. So there we go. So now once we have that, what we'll do is that we'll look inside of our model. We'll select everything inside of it. So we'll click on the first part, hold hold shift and click on the last one. Well, select everything, go up to model here, go to where it says create, and then just click on weld, and then that will just put a weld on all of them. So also another thing, make sure none of these parts are anchored, because none of them are anchored. They don't necessarily have to collide with each other, but it's probably best to leave anchored and can collide unchecked, because can collide can cause weird physics bugs, and anchored will not allow us to make this work properly. So yeah, so now once you have the model, you can just bop it into models, and yeah. So let's go back in our framework, and let's actually make this gun, let's actually make this model able to load. So we'll call this rep model, and we'll copy and paste this. Wait for child. Pistol. So now, instead of the load view model, let's actually get our rep pistol. So let's get rep model. Here, let's type here, hold on. Here, let's type local model. No. And we can kind of copy and paste this and just replace this with model. So we can change that, change that, change that, change that, and this. And we'll call this model. And we'll set it to the view model. So then what we'll do is that we'll create a hand weld, create a new instance, create a new weld constraint. We'll call handweld.name equals to weld, handweld.parent equals to vModel, handweld.part0 equals to model.primary part, handweld.part1 equals to viewModel dot. Okay, so for this one, this is where you get to choose what part of the view model is going to be holding the gun. So if you want the left hand to be holding the gun, I'll type left arm, or sorry, left. If you want the left arm to be holding the gun, and same thing for the right gun, you just would change this with right. I think I'm going to keep right. So yeah. If you're using an R15 model or a different model that has different naming for the arms or hands, you might want to change this to hand or something like that. But if you're using a model like I am, then it should be no worry. So to test this out, another thing, let's do again, we'll do model set primary part C frame, view model, whatever arm or hand you're using, dot C frame. So that should work. So now it doesn't. So let's see what's wrong. So it clearly has the model. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the model is rendering, so that's a good sign. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all right. So I think what's wrong with the gun is that it's inside of the arm, not where we want it to be. I would fix that, but today's episode has been quite long, so I think I'm going to end the video off there. So yeah, goodbye, and I'll see you in the next FPS tutorial. Bye!